My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
For the second time in a week, Queensland Raceway is the focal point of Australian motor racing with the Shannons Nationals at Ipswich for round 4 of 6 of their 2018 series. This fantastic array of motorsport has already put on shows in South Australia, Victoria. It is terrific to be in the Sunshine State this weekend, and we'll continue the journey to Victoria and the finale, of course, in Sydney next month. At the end of Champions Way here at Willowbank is where you'll find us, Queensland Raceway, all part of this motorsport precinct here, just about 50 k's rather, in fact, to the southwest of Brisbane, and there's lots for every racing enthusiast here too, from open top prototypes to high horsepower sports sedans, production cars, and much, much more.
Well, thanks very much, Rusty, for covering the lane. We'll hear plenty from him right throughout this afternoon as well. Cars set on the grid. I'm Darren Smith and you're Tony Shebeki. Welcome back, Shebex.
Great to be back, Darren. What a beautiful afternoon, as Rusty said, for this 300-kilometre race. Fell 3 laps short of it yesterday. I'm pretty sure we're going to get it today, though.
This is the pictures from last night before we started the Fight in the Night, the now traditional Fight in the Night, which was a brainchild of Rob Kirkpatrick and Richard Crail and the crew that were running the Nationals right back then, and away we went.
300 Ks we didn't get to due to the number of safety cars that we had throughout the night. We fell about 6 or 7 laps short of that mark, but I tell you what, it was enthralling action, and it came right down to the wire with only 4 seconds separating our first and second cars at the end of their 287.3 Ks or whatever it might have been, Daz. It was, and we can see the pictures here. Tough racing, it really is, because the only things that really lit up are the actual flag marshal areas. Otherwise, you're pretty much running off your own steam off your headlights.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a true, Spa 24-hour Nürburgring type of race. They don't light those tracks up. There's the checkered flag, and it went to Tim Lay and Barry Clinton. They're very happy with that M3, really giving them the results they need. And on debut, it's just working really, really well.
Let's quickly go through the grid for you. As they finished up yesterday, we saw that our front cars of Barry Clinton and Jim Policina, Grant Sherrin and Kyle Alford on the second row, Justin Anthony and Anthony Sewell from row 3, Thomas Muller, Brad Woods starting on 4, Daniel Clift and Chris Lewis starting from row number 5.
Let's see how the BMWs get off the line and if the Lotuses can go with them. Beautiful start there from Alford on the second row of the grid in the number 54. In fact, he splits them and runs straight down into turn 1, but it'll be the BMW that extends its legs, the M3. But the 2 Lotuses slot right in front of the M4 of Ian and Grant Sherrin. So it's Ian Sherrin at the wheel of that car, and it's Tony at the wheel of the Black Lotus, who's just been relegated 1 spot mid-corner, in fact 2 spots. So magnificent start, split the front row, and he's found himself going back a spot there, and here comes the Giant Slayer Mercedes.
Yeah, it certainly does too, which had a great run yesterday, but what a fantastic start for Tony Alford. Unfortunately, just couldn't hold it down that back straight, and the Sherrin car now moving its way up, and it looks like we might have a little bit of a problem for Jim Policina's car. It's dropping back through the field now and actually coming to a halt out of turn number 3. So that is a real issue for the Lotus, and he is pulling it aside and pretty much out of the race.
Well, yes, he's going to have a big fight back from there. Let's hope it's just a quick Control Alt Delete. He's going to have to turn around and rejoin the track if that's the case, but he's going to sensibly let the field stream through before he tries to bring it back. So he won't interfere in the race at all. That's a gentleman racer for you. Jim Policina done a lot of racing, knows the rules back to front. A couple of Fords with a big charge there is the Scott's Rods car and the George Caradimas car there as well. So that's Lindsay Kearns in the 67 and 21. They just piled on the pace down. the back straight. Here's the Miller Evo 9 as well, starting to pick its way through the field. So the old Evo 9, the bright yellow and orange car, just streaming off the picture there. There's also the Volkswagen GTIR, the Volks Muller entered outfit. This is right in the mid-pack. He's up the front now. In fact, up the front is the Berwick Linton BMW M3 with a good 5 or 6 car lengths over the Ian Sherrin BMW. That's that one there, the number 1. And then it's a Class A2 car. Justin Anthony. These guys grab this Mercedes and absolutely shake it, don't they?
Yeah, just to give those people at home a little bit of an indication as to what the difference of these cars are. In the A1 class, we've got the performance with the fuel injection, and effectively A2 performance cars normally aspirated. So that's the only two difference really between these cars.
Yeah, so the A cars got turbos, and the 2 cars NAs out there. So just watching these guys, if Justin Anthony and Carl Begg do anything, it's they squeeze the blood out of this Mercedes. They really do. They wring its neck. They prepare it to within a millimetre of its life. So it's had hands all over it, making sure everything's working well. And then on the racetrack, they do like a dance behind the wheel. It's the pedals, it's the hands on the wheel. And Greg Rust with the report from the lane.
Darren Tony, I'm not sure yet whether Jim Policino will be able to rejoin this race. I'm hearing that it may be terminal, that there may be a major engine issue for that car, or that it's stuck in gear, he can't get it out of gear. So we'll try and confirm exactly what it is, but it doesn't sound as though Jim Policino will be rejoining anytime soon.
What a shame.
Yeah.
What an absolute shame. Big commitment to the Australian Production Car Series, the Jacuzzi Spas Australian Production Car Series, when you go and shell out the clams for a Lotus Exige Sport 350, and to be sitting in the Sunday afternoon sunshine, standing still, watching the other cars go round. Hugely frustrating for any race car driver to be sitting there and nothing happening, particularly seeing that green car exactly the same as his. It's charged from the 20 and is challenging for 3rd place in the race, only on lap 4.
And doing a great job of it too, Grant Denyer right behind now Ian Sherrin, who is close the gap between himself and our leader Berwick Linton. That's down to under a second now between 1st and 2nd. And expect Grant Denyer to throw his weight in under turn 1 on the inside. Can he get it done? Ian Sherrin holds the line out wide, but I reckon Denyer will have enough to take him through turn number 2, and he does. Grant Denyer into 2nd place.
Don't let Ian Sherrin let you down. He'll stay with it because this car will run stronger in a straight line. Towards the end of the straight here, you'd expect to see the turbocharged car really start to haul the Lotus back in. But in actual fact, what is happening is that he's hauling in Berwick Linton, and he's bringing the Sherrin car with him.
Under brakes, Grant Denyer right up the back now of our leader in Berwick Linton, and expect to possibly see a positional change, maybe out of turn 6 down the main straight, as Denyer sets it up now. He's got some power too, looking to go up the inside through turn 6, and he gets the job done. Great work, Grant Denyer. Berwick Linton holding it fat on the outside, but we have a new leader. It's the Lotus.
5 laps in from 20 places back on the start. It's about 27 places from the start back, and we've got like the Alexandra Best Kia, the Conway Motorsport car, just pulling up there as well. Here's the pass again for the lead. Denyer looked to the inside. Berwick Linton held his line, moved over to take his line, realised that the Lotus was there, and hey, that's a feat in itself, because as you can see, it's only as high as the boot lid on the BMW. Unfortunately, like we did last night, there was an early safety car around about the same lap. In fact, lap 5 was lap 7 last night, so we brought one in early. Let's hope we don't have this one breeds another.
But let's head down to the lane. Speaking of the resplendent man in his brand new 3M gear, Greg Rust.
I'm with Jim Policino. These are always the difficult interviews. What's happened, and is it game over?
It's definitely game over. There's a problem with the car. We're not 100% sure what it is. It's a mechanical failure, so we're out for the day, unfortunately.
Just describe what happened to us at the time.
Just lost drive going into the braking area. So I just broken something, so can't exactly be sure what it is yet.
And we are back underway, and not going to get away with it today with Beric Linton. He goes right with Grant Denyer this time around. So the dark blue BMW M3 will go right with the resplendent green Lotus. Not quite a British racing green, but I guess it's Lotus green. Of course, the Simply Sports Cars entered outfit. That's Grant Denyer that leads the way on the Morris Finance leaderboard. Big g'day to all of those down at Morris Finance for their support right throughout the 2018 season. Beric Linton in P2, then it's Ian Sherrin and Justin Anthony rounding out the 4, and there he is, still in there, Justin Anthony. Tony Alford in the second of the Lotuses on the road. Thomas Muller in the number 38. Then it's the Commodore of Nathan Callahan. Mixing it up there in 7th. Then it's Anthony Sewell in the BMW 1M.
The Morris Finance leaderboard showing us our top 8 right there, and we can see the remainder of the field as they make their way through turn 3, and quite spread out again after that restart. But it is Grant Denyer, our leader. Now just getting a little bit of a gap. He didn't have that for the first half of a lap between himself and Beric Linton. And Ian Sherrin right there as well on the back of Beric Linton. And then the Mercedes with Justin Anthony hanging in there as well. A good battle for our first couple of places early on in this race. 10 laps down of 96.
This is the Seaton McBenton car.
Yeah, it had problems yesterday as well in the race, unfortunately for it.
It's Mick Benton at the wheel too.
It looks like it might be day over for them as well.
Here's what happened. He copped a nerf? No, I don't think he did. I think it was just got a bit sideways. May have rolled that left-hand rear tyre off the rim there. Maybe that's what's happened, because that was under extreme load. You see a couple of Toyota 86s there, the 886 and the 231, and here comes Mick Benton in the Falcon. He's returning with a vengeance and picking off as much as he possibly can. Got an issue here with the MG. Yeah. A bit of a guard flapping there for James Brock and Elliot Barber. Not sure who's actually started the race between these two guys. So update that, but it certainly had a big whack up the back somewhere along the line. And it's Greg Rust reporting from the lane.
I'm just going to wander over here and clear up that answer for you. I can see Elliot Barber on the pit wall, so I'd say it's James Brock at the wheel there. They're keeping a close eye on it. Sorry to interrupt you. Do we know much about what's happened there?
Not yet. James hasn't said much. I think he's obviously come to whack behind, and the rear bar sort of half floating there, but hopefully it either stays on or gets rid of itself pretty quickly. But it's a shame, because we were obviously leading that battle, and then someone has to bid you and potentially half ruin our race. It's a bit frustrating.
Good on you, Rusty. Thank you for that. We can see graphic pictures at the back of that MG. And that bit of bumper bar just hanging on by the smallest of threads. And one would think momentum is going to see that bumper bar come off at some point. If it doesn't, you would think that a mechanical black flag might go out to the MG to make sure he comes in and has that removed.
There's a massive plume of smoke coming down the pit lane at the moment, and I do not know why.
There's no car there, so obviously someone's gone off at some point.
In fact, there's a car. It is there. It is the Benton car pulled up the end of pit lane.
It is the Benton Seaton car.
You'd have to suggest with that amount of smoke, in fact, that's right down at turn 1. The amount of smoke there, that's let go something in a massive way. And Greg Rust has got further news from pit lane.
I'm with one of the most experienced guys in the game, and he's been on the radio to that car. Glenn Seaton, what's happened?
Yeah, it looks like it's either done an engine or something. It's a pretty old car. It was built in 2012, so it's been racing since then. So naturally, at the end of the day, it's given up the ghost.
So here's our Morris Finance leaderboard again. Denyer, Linton, Sherrin, Anthony, Tony Alford, Muller, Callahan, that's the Nathan in the number 7, in the position 7 in the Commodore. Then it's Sewell, Aaron Tebbs at the wheel of the orange and bright yellow Evo 9. Then it's Turner, Woods and Clift. Here we go again, down the inside. Car number 1 trying to dispatch with Beric Linton. Car number 23, sporting a bit of Dermot Brereton number there in the number 23.
Oh, he might have got him this time, I reckon. And Ian Sherrin does get that spot in second place. How long will he hold it for, though? Chip and Beric Linton isn't thinking it's going to be too long. Follow this battle as they head down towards turn 6.
as we've got the Naylor and Naylor car in on lap number 47 of the scheduled 96 for the Sunday afternoon race after the traditional fight in the night, 300 Ks for the Jacuzzi Spas Australian production car series.
The Linton cars also come to the lane. We can see it there on camera. So change of driver about to take place. Berwick Linton stepping out. Tim Lay stepping in. Let's head down to pit lane and Greg Rust.
Boys, as you know, generally when you walk into a pit garage and things are nice and relaxed, that's a good sign. Tony D'Alberto, you're obviously getting ready to go to work, but things have gone very smoothly so far, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been really good. Grant got a great start, got us right on the front again. So he's got a comfortable lead at the moment. We're just trying to manage that and look after the car. It's pretty hot out there. So yeah, fingers crossed everything goes to plan today and we can finish the job.
Here comes the MG6 now, number 24 of James Brock and Elliot Barber.
Elliot Barber behind the wheel. Brock did the early stint on that one. Oh, sorry, it is James Brock.
Brock's still behind the wheel. Yep. So maybe this is a fuel issue as well. Maybe they're all pushing the envelope. Gee, we're frantically working to try and see what's wrong. The CXC Global race team there on hand, running this car, the number 38.
Here it is, the lead car into pit lane. Grant Denyer in the car. He will now step out with the help of his teammate Tony D'Alberto, who will now take the reins. Extra padding in the seat not needed for Tony D'Alberto. He is an extra 6 inches taller than Grant.
Not using a driver assist here though, which can sometimes be a bit interesting for the... Oh, look at that. That's blocking the entry to pit lane as well now for the MG, so they want to get a toe on that.
And that is a safety car situation.
Interesting that they're not using a driver assist. Daniel just jogs away like he's just had a Sunday afternoon.
Ever so close, James Brock, to bring that car into the pits. It's at the top of pit lane, fortunately to the left-hand side, so there's still an opportunity for cars to get around on the inside. The safety car board and flag is out.
As Greg Rust is following all the action in the lane for us.
And boys, Tony D'Alberto has just left the lane. They've picked up on a little something that you did that with your hands when you got out of the car. That's been hard work.
Yeah, it has been hard work. Have I got out of the car as fresh as Scott McLaughlin? Because I feel it. I feel so good. It's hot out there. It's really hot just trying to manage the tyres. Everyone's slipping and sliding around. The track temperature's up a lot. Got to be really slow with the shifts in a production car. You know, you got to kind of really nurse the thing home. That was a lot of fun. Some great racing out of there, but that Lotus is trucking along beautifully.
The yellow flag still being waved, so there's no green flag actually there. Now it was just given right on the line.
It was very late being given to the field there.
That's the reason why Tony D'Alberto held it, because there was no green flag waving for him to go. He finally went though at the line when it was waved and has pulled away as expected from the back markers of the field. The Berwick Linton car in behind D'Alberto at the moment. Tim Lay in the driver's seat there. It is currently fourth and a lap down. The three cars on the lead lap, the D'Alberto car, the Kyle Alford car, the two Lotuses there, and the BMW M4 of Grant Sherrin, all on the lead lap at the moment.
So the MG that was stricken, run out of petrol before this, as a result of the safety car coming out, now back in the race. Elliot Barber at the wheel, another very experienced racer, driven pretty much everything he could get his backside into, and really enjoying the invitation that was extended to him by James Brock and the crew down there at Brock Race Engineering to run this MG. Pretty cool program too. It's a real traditional name in the world of motorsport, Morris Garages. It might have changed over the years in the way the operations go, but certainly its history is steeped in motorsport.
So the situation at the moment has seen Grant Sherrin jump into second place as the Alford car, driven by Kyle Alford's been held at the back of traffic, and you can see the Sherrin car go up to turn one now. The Alford Lotus still has another 4 or 5 cars in front of it, which is keeping it away from Grant Sherrin. And then the distance between Grant Sherrin and the Tony D'Alberto Lotus is literally the length of the back straight.
As we go down to Greg Rust.
Darren, I think he's a little miffed at you, Griffo, because you saw him going into race control, and I think you were hoping to sneak in there without people seeing it. Firstly, what was the reason for the visit to the officials?
Well, the outcome was there was all 3 cars in the category had come into turn 3. As we're exiting, the little Echo's faster than the other 2. So as I've come tight on the exit, the MG saw me and shut the gate on me. Unfortunately, he shut the gate too hard. I was already there, and his the back of his car's hit the front of mine, which has damaged their bumper.
Safety car out now. We saw the number 90 Beg Mercedes come to a halt exiting turn number 3, and we've also got the number 30 BMW, which is exiting turn 4. So the Beg car, Justin Anthony car, has come to a halt. They were in contention for this race no matter what. They were certainly annihilating A2, and even though they've been stopped for a lap now, they're still showing as at 9th on the road. So that's a real shame that the number 90 has come to an absolute halt there.
Yellow flag still waving from our control tower. So Tony D'Alberto still not going over the allowed speed. He will though once he hits the line. There's the green and away he goes. And straight away that gap opens up again between him and the cars behind him.
Have a look now. Grant Sherrin takes 3 cars on the journey down into turn 1. Logs in behind one of the Colin Osborne Motorsport Class C Renault Megans. It's dispatches with that. Now on to the back of the Volkswagen and works his way through onto the back of that as well. But it's Tim Lay that's trying to go with Tony D'Alberto, albeit to try and unlap themselves. So they've got a massive task. Look at the Orford car as well. It's blazing away down the inside, down underneath George Karadimas' Falcon there as well, and turns in to the right-hander. So that is a car that is chasing position in this race. So it's the green Lotus, then it's the orange and yellow, or red and yellow Sherrin Hire car of the Sherrins. Then 2 cars back, now 1 car back is the Lotus. That's your podium contenders for A1 class. And
I don't know what happened to Cole Orford, because at the restart he only had 1 car between himself and Grant Sherrin. By the time they got to turn 3, he had about 5 cars. He's now picked them off and is right back on the back of Grant Sherrin. And we'll look at trying to get that spot in the 2nd place. So 3 out of our 4 leading cars are in the top 3. The only one that isn't.
And on the straight altogether at one time.
Exactly right. And the only one that isn't is the car actually behind our leader at the moment, and that is Tim Lay, who is currently in 4th place, but a lap down.
So let's see if Tim Lay can go with Tony D'Alberto here. I would suggest that Tony D'Alberto is not holding anything back, because that BMW that is 2 back from him right now, we know the dogged competitors that family racing team are. It's not over until the gates are locked and everyone's left the race meeting.
Will Brown has finally taken that spot on Ian Saltieri.
Has he?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Saltieri out into the dirt. That'll slow him down a fraction. And under brakes, the little Toyota Echo does the job and has a margin between itself and the Nissan Pulsar.
This is a battle. This is for points. Got their fight the night light on now too. The crew there for Double J, and lifting that inside rear wheel again. So this is the battle within the field for Class E, and it is alive and well. In fact, it is 21st on the road and leading class. No, sorry, Saltieri is 18th on the road and leading the class there in the Pulsar. So there's a lap difference between them at the moment, but they're fighting it out like they're going to bring it to the checkered flag, and it's going to be a race result. A couple of kilometres from home and seeing a Lotus on the top step of Australian motorsport. It's been a long, long time. Brad Jones raced a Lotus back in early production cars. It was a Lotus Esprit. Paul Stokel raced the early version of this, the Lotus Elise Sport 190, the Trust Bank car. And both those cars stood on the podium, and that was 1998. So back in the 90s, yes, the Esprit and the early version of the Elise was on the podium a few times in the 98 season. But is this the start of a golden era for the British mark here in Australian production cars? The Jacuzzi Spas Australian Production Car Series, preeminent production car series in Australia. And it's got a bit of a rear valance hanging off there too, a little bit of the, well, it wouldn't be a valance, it'd be more like one of the Aero 8s under the back of the car. The diffuser just wobbling around a little bit there. And the nerves will all start to drain away, and there's the smile and the team cheering Tony D'Alberto as he charges all the way to the race finish and brings the Lotus home for its first victory in the 2018 season. And you get the feeling, Tony, that we're going to see a little bit of this in the future.
Yeah, and a great battle between it and the BMW M4, with Grant Sherrin finishing in second place. Kyle Orford in the second of the 3 Lotuses, finishing in third place.
Tim Lay, BMW M3, home in 4th place and taking out the round. Andrew Fisher in the 1M BMW. Jason Miller bringing home the old Mitsubishi Evo 9. Jake Cavalieri, welcome return to production cars. Rob Rubis in the 135i. Dominic Mertens, the Volkswagen Golf R GT. And Jeff Russell bringing that Falcon home with George Caradimas home in 10th place.
Yeah, look, obviously did a great job last night, and Tim brought it home and we got first last night. We've had a couple of heat issues today, but kept out there circulating, and Tim was doing some good times at the end, and staying in touch with the leaders even though we were a lap down.
Yeah, no, the car's good. I mean, we've still got a couple of teething issues which showed today, but I think the safety car was their worst enemy then, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what happened, but at the end of the day, we're winners for the weekend, so happy days.
Our next event, of course, is at Winton in country Victoria, and we're looking forward to showcasing all of the great categories that form a part of the Shannons Nationals there. The place you go, of course, to find out all the information is thenationals.com.au or our official Facebook page. A huge thanks to the volunteers, the officials that have once again worked tirelessly throughout the night and day to make this one a great success. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll catch you at the next round. Bye for now.
Stay with us, because after the break, we head over to Estonia and to the capital of Tallinn for round 4 of the FIM Enduro GP World Championship.